Hey, your buddy Peace and Harmony here with you here today, outside so we can talk in peace and privacy. The crazy-making that is created by the narcissist or the psychopath, I do refer to both in these videos because I think the message needs to go out to people who are both inflicted with pain from a narcissist or a psychopath. They're very close and similar, and they're on a similar gradient system in the DSM-3R. So I'm really discussing and treating both of these situations and the pain inflicted. Again, a little bit more severe with the psychopath. But I want to talk today about the internal conflict that you feel after being mistreated and exploited by the narcissist or psychopath in your life. The internal conflict is a state where because of all the trauma, the torture, the lies, the cognitive dissonance that has been created and inflicted upon you from the narcissist, it gets you really into a huge state of self-doubt and internal conflict. So much to the point where you really don't know how to restore the balance, right or wrong, within yourself. You're not able to do the things that make you happy anymore. Nothing seems to make you happy. You feel so devoid of energy, just an internal distress, internally distraught because of the very conditions that the narcissist or the psychopath has put you through. And these situations, I think I described in a personal or previous video called cognitive dissonance. I think it's a very important topic. However, I want to discuss it on a more personal level within yourself. This is a state where the narcissist has interacted with you, has related to you, has dealt with you in such a manner where there's such an internal conflict, basically such a huge disparity or division between what they say and what they do. And it creates a huge gap, a huge void in terms of it's the say one thing and do another. And as they say, actions speak louder than words, and you feel this huge gap, or you feel this huge sense of confusion when dealing with them, and a betrayal because of the difference in how they have treated you, or how they communicate to you, and then the various different lies that they engage in, and eventually how they treat you, because there's so much cognitive dissonance and so much splitting within their everyday activities. You can't come through without being hurt. You can't really go through it without being impacted. And the cognitive dissonance and the cognitive splitting are very important to understand so you can better understand yourself and how you feel. Because you feel so severed, you feel so disconnected from yourself. It's a very strange term to say, well, I'm disconnected. How can I be disconnected from myself? Well, it's a condition, a sort of conflict, a certain internal distress, or, people are so used to the word depression. But after, going through situations with a personality disordered person, it's much more than emotional battering. It's like being subjected to a really excruciating sort of torture. Because of the various ways you've been treated, and then the things that they're said, and then you receive also the flip side to such a great extreme that it creates this crazy making, it creates this disintegration of your core values and your core identity, and that's at the really base of it. And we're going to go through this a couple times in some different videos so you can really understand, I think, what's happened, because I think that's instrumental and really kind of the bottom line to helping you heal. Now, keep in mind that the narcissist or psychopath, very strong up here in their intelligence, and very strong, down in the sexual groin area. Okay, or just their sexual energy is very strong. Their charisma is very strong. Their physicality is often very strong, and then their intellect is very strong in terms of how they con and manipulate people. Now, what's really missing is that internal heart, okay? And it's very difficult when, you've been attracted to somebody either from their sexual nature, the lower, okay, the what we're going to call the sex appeal and how it impacts you and how you feel. And I apologize if this is complicated, but we're going to get into some complex stuff here because it's very important for you to grasp this, to understand what happened to me, why did I go through this, what just happened, why am I feeling this way, and why do I have this disruption, how did I go through this huge, avalanche, or how did I just get sideswiped in my life, and I don't want this to happen again, and how do I get back on my feet, how do I feel like myself? So I'm trying to go through these rigors with you. Now, if we look at the internal distress that's caused, and we look at kind of the original approach from them, so let's go back to when you first met this person, when you first engaged with them. If it's a boyfriend or girlfriend, I get it. If it's a boss or manager, I get it. If it's a parent, I get it. So let's just use the example of a boyfriend or girlfriend. When you first met them, maybe you first weren't very interested in them. They were just like anybody else, but little by little, they started to make conversation with you, or they had, asked somebody to get you guys together. Maybe they provided some matchmaking. Bottom line, you got into conversation with this person and they started pulling their tricks. You started catching on to them right away. You said, oh, this guy is great. He's asking me these questions. She's asking me these questions. They're engaged with me. They're maybe interested in me. Oh, wow, this is so cool. And then you just went running after it like, the Jolly Green Giant had just found the lucky bean. I mean, you were all over it. At first maybe a little hesitant, little by little, but you got the excitement, you got the hormones going, you got the chills up and down your spine, and one thing led to another, and this person just wowed you. So romantic, hot and heavy, just, beautiful in terms of what you thought you had found with this person. I mean, you guys were in the garden of love, eating all over the place, animalistic, but sophisticated. So you had kind of this whole blend of chemistry between the two of you. Something very rudimentary, yet something very psychologically stimulating. Something very passionate, yet something very intellectual. So you had really these extremes going on. And what you didn't realize while you were, I'm going to just say, being bamboozled, being calculated, being manipulated, you didn't know it was manipulation in the beginning, but you thought it was something very pure. You thought it was something very innocent, and chances are the person made you feel this way, that you're just coming from this great place with them. You're coming from just the answer to your prayers. You're coming from a place of satisfaction. This seemed to be working out so great. I mean, better than really anybody who you've met. And chances are it didn't just grow gradually over time. Some cases it does, but usually there's a very strong connection right away with this person, and the energy was just so strong that you were then able to withstand certain other maladaptive treatment, which is now creating the conflict and the cognitive dissonance. You get to know them, sooner or later you're going to see their true colors. This is where the cognitive dissonance, you started paying attention, and you said, you know what, why we're supposed to be lovers here, we're supposed to be soulmates, we're supposed to be these, two frolicking adventurers. We have just such a great sense of exploration and adventure in our love making and our passion, in our romance, and we're getting along so well, and we're having this blast. Why isn't it carrying over into something more serious? Somebody in the relationship, chances are you were like, okay, we're ready to get a little bit more substance here. And, you questioned it a little bit further, and you've noticed that there's something kind of missing, but you can't put your finger on it. And here comes, them just, maybe with a silent reaction. They don't really have an explanation or justification for you, but you're really feeling like there's something really truly different. There's something missing, but the positives are still there in such a strong manner that you want to continue. The positives are so reinforcing for you. They have you so concocted. They have you so drinking from their nectar, let's just call it that way, that you can't really separate yourself. So you're allowing yourself to continue on in this sort of dissonance or conflict, what they call cognitive dissonance, which means something seems so good yet so wrong. This seems so fabulous, yet there's something really a void growing. And usually in the experience, you can't quite put your finger on it until one thing is led to another, and then you're just left to these desperate measures to try to figure out what's going on. You get into a fight, you start yelling, you start looking at the phone, looking at the emails, looking at things on their desk. Oh, they're loving that. They love it when you are losing your cool. If you're losing your shit over them, they're like, oh, this is awesome. They love to see this dismantling of a person. Really they love to see the breakdown of your personality. They love to see you violating yourself, becoming out of character, getting upset, getting frustrated. You're just getting that more deeper entrenched into their crazy making. And it's what they know is going to happen, but they proceed anyway. And for them, they're just wondering, like, how long is it going to be until they really figure me out? How long is it going to go where we can continue this together, this quote-unquote relationship, which is not really a relationship at all. Once you realize that there's no heart connection, there's no common terms, there's no foundation. And, then the cognitive dissonance occurs when you're basically attacked for the very person that you are. You're now acting out of a personality space which is not the real you. It's creating a paranoia and a sort of contradiction within you. It's not right, but it has to be, but it's so wrong. It seems so right, but it feels so wrong. There's something amiss, and then it's that perpetual breaking down and trying to figure out what is going on that creates this internal conflict, which eventually gets you to violate your very own internal values. And that's the key. If you really look at it and what's going on with you here, they have created a way for you to violate yourself and your own core identity. They want you to be less professional, less together, less peaceful, less gentle, less nurturing. They want you to destroy those very qualities. And the longer that you're with them, they know the longer that you're with them, the longer you're going to be devastated, or the more in depth you're going to be devastated. So that cognitive dissonance is really what starts to create that crazy making. Now, good news here is that you can restore a sense of your own values and your own joy. So it's the true joy, which really comes from the heart center. In here, your heart, your heart is in here. Your heart is where your love emanates. Your heart is truly, where you're connected. And that is what you have to start reconnecting to in your recovery, is your true personal values. So that's why I always recommend, getting into your recovery journal, writing out the things that you want, the things that you need, the way that you want to be. Oftentimes this is going to, be goals for your health, eating healthfully, acting out of your true core central values is going to help restore that sense of peace, harmony, and balance. So I hope that understanding this kind of origination of the crazy making has been a good tool and resource for you. We're going to go more in depth with this in other future videos. Peace and harmony here with you here today. Please share these and subscribe to people who, for people who need it. Please share with them, and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, and discussion. Be strong and have a beautiful day.